I have a love-hate relationship with NixOS. Over the past few years, it's gone from a niche experiment to a fairly mainstream Linux distribution. For the uninitiated, NixOS is a Linux distro built around reproducibility and declarative configuration. Instead of installing software imperatively, you edit a configuration.nix file, then rebuild your system. The system becomes whatever you declared it to be. On paper, it's beautiful, and in many ways, it really is. First, reproducibility. If you manage multiple machines, you can copy the same configuration and get an identical setup every time. One command, sudo nixos rebuild switch, and your entire system aligns with your configuration file. Software, services, users, everything. That part is genuinely brilliant. Second, Nix shells. These give you isolated development environments with no dependency conflicts. Each project can have its own universe. No more "it works on my machine." It works on every machine. As a web developer, I found this incredibly valuable. Third, the package repositories. They're huge. Some people claim they rival or exceed the Arch user repository. I'm not convinced they fully do. I've found things in the AUR that I couldn't find in Nix, but for most use cases, you're not exactly starving for software. So with all of that, you'd think I'd be fully sold. In fact, I ran NixOS as my daily driver for over a year, and here's where the love starts to argue with the hate. To really use NixOS properly, you must learn the Nix language. It's not optional, it's central. You use it to configure your system, define packages, write flakes, and build software. And while I'm not new to Linux, this still adds another conceptual layer, another language, another mental model. In a world where the Unix philosophy still whispers about simplicity, small tools, and composability, NixOS feels different. Powerful, yes. Elegant in theory, yes. But simple? Not really. And if you try to run software that isn't packaged in Nix or delivered via a flake, you start jumping through hoops. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just quietly give up and rethink your life choices. Now, to be fair, plenty of things in the Unix world violate the Unix philosophy. Xorg, Wayland, and Emacs are obvious examples. Modern computing requires compromises. I think NixOS makes sense as an enterprise server platform. It also makes sense for development environments, where reproducibility matters more than simplicity. But here's the twist. You don't actually need NixOS to get most of Nix's benefits. The Nix package manager runs on almost any Linux distribution. You lose some system-level reproducibility unless you use tools like Home Manager, but you still get the build system, the shells, and the isolation. And without Nix being welded directly into your entire operating system, the complexity feels manageable. After a year on NixOS, I realized I preferred Nix on a different distro, Chimera Linux in my case, rather than Nix as the distro. For me, the integration is too tight. The mental overhead is too high. The elegance doesn't quite justify the friction. And for the average user, I would not recommend NixOS, not unless they genuinely enjoy configuration languages and abstract system models. For developers, it's absolutely worth experimenting with. You might love it. You might decide the complexity is a fair price. I didn't, and that's fine. We all want different things from our operating systems. Have you used NixOS? Did you love it? Hate it? Tolerate it like a very capable but emotionally distant coworker? Or have you considered using Nix on another distribution? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, this has been Against Default.